that they have to perform, especially when the older guys are there watching. You know what I mean? Like if you're sitting there and you're a young guy playing, he feels like he has to perform. I would have made sure they were there.
Well, I know it's a different time and a different era. You know what I mean? And obviously, you want to keep those guys home and quarantine. Certainly, when you got a playoff game the next week. But I totally understand what you're saying, and that's something that we're going to be talking about later on in this show with Ryan Fitzpatrick not standing on the sideline with Tua Tagovailoa getting this, not just for the fact that Fitzpatrick has come in when Tua has struggled, but just him chirping in his ear and just telling him X, Y, and Z and helping him out. But we'll talk about that later. It's time to talk about this game right here and right now with Pittsburgh and Cleveland. And the question of the Colts coming into this game and needing the Steelers to win a game, even though the Steelers beating them last week put them in a situation of needing this help. And the Steelers, did they figure everything out against the Colts last week, or are there still questions for you, Steve?
Questions all over the place still. I mean, they had a great second half. They won that game. That's a quality win against the Colts. Now, that's a good football team. So, they're down 24-7, and we know that Ben likes to throw the ball quickly. They forget about the run game. They only ran for 22 yards again. All right. But by desperation, by need, when you're down 24-7 in the third quarter, you better sling it. Well, they did, and they did very well. 244 yards of passing in the second half. Deontay Johnson and Juju got their touchdowns, and Ben threw the ball down the field more so than he has all year. It worked against the Colts, but is that how they want to play football? Not really. I think they did only because they were behind so much.
Well, and, Coach, it was defense as well. I mean, their defense had 2 sacks and an interception in that second half, something that they haven't done since week 12, their last win in the second half against the Ravens. So you put that formula together and you go, well, yeah, if you could do this in the playoffs, you fixed your problems and you will be a tough out. Maybe the most important thing, though, was they were down 24-7. And they had lost 3 straight and everything was going haywire. They settled in. They made plays in the second half. They did what they had to do, and they found a way against a good football team to get a win. And so maybe that's why you sit this week. Hey, man, we're coming off a great second half. We're coming off a performance where we go, hey, we can overcome and we can do anything and we can beat a playoff-type team. I like what they did in the second half. I'm not convinced that all their issues are gone, but I love the last thing we saw on tape was some good Pittsburgh Steelers.
And neither are they. They're not convinced that the problems are gone. But Coach is being smart in this sense that he's taking this opportunity to say, this was the last taste that we will leave in your mouth, that you came back, that everybody made plays. We won the game the way we wanted to win the game, the way we've been trying to win games all year, throwing the ball up the football, and we threw up the football field. Juju Smith-Schuster showed up. He did not dance on the logo. Let's get that, okay? He did not dance on the logo, but he was dancing in the end zone. He was dancing in the end zone. He made plays all over the field. Now, God, I don't believe that not dancing on the logo helped anything. But whatever, it worked out, and they won the football game. And the way they won the football game, I think, does help also.
That wasn't part of the issues they were trying to fix, was Juju off of the logo.
But they got him off the logo.
But it worked. Now what? Now he's got it. He can't do it anymore. It worked last week.
It certainly, in the third quarter last week, it looked pretty
dim.
Great. It looked dim, and then it just totally turned on for the Steelers. And then the NFC East, the Dallas Cowboys have come on strong, and if they win in the Jersey snow, they'll sit back on their flight home and then turn on Sunday Night Football on NBC and root hard for the Eagles. If Washington, 2 days of triple headers, and we'll get you started each of those days at 9 a.m. Eastern with NFL Game Day Morning right here on NFL Network. Only 1 seed is cemented entering Week 17, and that is the 1 seed in the American Football Conference. That belongs to the defending Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs, who are going to be resting some key starters today, giving them half a month off, essentially, which is a rarity in the NFL. So let's take things to Ian Rappaport right now and walk us through what's going on right there and others.
Well, for Rich, the most important thing for the Kansas City Chiefs is you're not going to see Patrick Mahomes. No risk for Kansas City, as you mentioned, with everything locked up. So instead of Mahomes, it's going to be Chad Henne, the backup, making his first start since 2014. He got all the reps in practice. They believe he is ready. And, of course, this is going to be a glorified preseason game because they're going to be without several other key guys, including Tyreek Hill. He's got a little bit of a hamstring thing, not considered major, but they're not going to put him at risk. Either Le'Veon Bell is kind of dinged up. He might play a little, but Darwin Thompson going to get most of the carries for Kansas City.
All right, well, resting a quarterback in Week 17 with a playoff spot in hand. Nothing new for Andy Reid. In 2013 and 2017, he rested Alex Smith in Week 17, and both times the Chiefs ended up losing the wild card round game the following week. The silver lining was the 2017 Week 17 game featured the debut of Patrick Mahomes getting his feet wet in the American Football Conference Western Division right there in Denver. So you got things ready for him. And then you take a look at this fact right here. Teams with first-round bye to rest a quarterback in Week 17 of the last 10 postseasons. The only quarterback who won in the divisional round was Drew Brees against the Philadelphia Eagles in 2018. Lamar Jackson, Ben Roethlisberger, Aaron Rodgers, all quarterbacks rested and then lost coming off of the bye week. So that's how we go to the Lowe's home studio and have the rest versus rust conversation. Rich, take it away.
Okay, Rich, thanks. So this is the time of year where coaches make this decision, right, Kurt? You know, do I rest not just my starting quarterback, but other players on the team that I want to protect? Rest versus rust. Yeah. Your thoughts?
Man, I mean, pretty crazy when you look at that. Aaron Rodgers, Big Ben, and Lamar Jackson all losing. I do worry about this a little bit. And I know Patrick Mahomes is special, and they've got all kinds of playmakers. And he's shown us all year, and he showed us last year in the playoffs, they can start a little bit slow, or they can have a little bit of rust, and they can come back in those situations. But I always worry about my team not hitting on all cylinders when it's playoff time, especially the first playoff game, coming out and feeling good about yourself. So concerned a little bit. I still like where their team is and the teams they're going to play, but I'm concerned.
Yeah, and it's always risk versus reward when you're dealing with these things. But one, like I always tell people, one of the things Jimmy always did was made sure, just like what we're seeing in Buffalo, he didn't say anything. So everybody, we can lose the game and not playing the game, but he didn't want to lose the week work, being sharp in that week. And with the Chiefs, this is what I thought about too. Guys, think about this. They were playing last season. They won the Super Bowl. Then they jumped right into an off season of COVID. I mean, where have they had a mental break? Right. They jump right back into this kind of a season dealing with COVID. You've seen Andy Reid coming up with all these crazy plays he's designing, all this crazy stuff he's doing. I think this is just trying to give them a mental break during the season, having fun, keeping things light. I think this break will be great for them from that sense.
I think you make a great point, too, Coach. I don't know how you did it, but we prepared, and we would start this Week 17 game in some of the years that we had the bye, where it was kind of like, let's start, we'll play just a little bit, but you go through your entire routine, you get into the game and you're focused, and then we take you out and we give you that rest.
Yeah. That's how I would prefer it too, because the only thing that guarantees that you will be healthy when you play a playoff game is if you don't play the game before. That's the only thing. And I don't much believe in the rust thing unless a guy has been hurt and he can't throw, or he's got broken ribs or whatever, and you come back because you're a little under-practiced. But like we're talking about, if you practice, and Patrick Mahomes will practice, and Ben will practice, the rust, I think being fresh and healthy is way more important than taking a chance on being a little rusty in the beginning. So
especially that group
knows what he's doing over here. All right, Rich, take it back.
All right, thanks very much. Patrick Mahomes, an expectant father, already getting